Obviously, as Japan is the birthplace of Pokemon, it's probably one of the best countries in the world to visit if you're a Pokemon fan. You can shop at huge Pokemon centers, eat at a Pokemon cafe, search for rare cards, stay in a Pokemon-themed hotel, find Pokemon manhole covers across the country, and now even visit a permanent Pokemon attraction in Tokyo. But there is one problem. There is so much Pokemon content in Japan that it's very easy to make mistakes planning your trip around Pokemon. You might spend hours visiting several Pokemon centers, only to realize that most of them sell many of the same products. You might assume that you can buy a sealed booster box anywhere in Japan and then discover that they are completely sold out. Or you might arrive at a Pokemon cafe or attraction without realizing that you needed to make the reservation weeks earlier. So this video is not going to be a list of every Pokemon related place in Japan. Instead, I'm going to show you how to choose the Pokemon experiences that actually match your interests, how to avoid the most common mistakes, and what you should check out before your trip. Hi everyone, it's Abby from Pictour. I'm a photographer and guide in Japan. You can see more about everything that we have here, and let's get into it. First off, what kind of Pokemon fan are you? Before adding Pokemon locations to your itinerary, you should first decide what kind of Pokemon fan you are, because someone looking for cute plushies will need a completely different itinerary than someone searching for vintage or valuable cards. I would divide most visitors into 4 general groups. The first is the merchandise hunter. You want plushies, keychains, stationery, clothing, seasonal Pikachu products, or Japan-exclusive souvenirs. The second is the card collector. You may be searching for new packs, sealed boxes, individual cards, vintage Japanese cards, or professionally graded cards. The third is the experience-focused fan. You want to visit the Pokemon Cafe, PokéPark KANTO, themed hotel rooms, special trains, USJ exhibits, or limited-time exhibitions. And the fourth is the casual fan or family. You like Pokemon, but you don't need to have your entire trip revolve around it. You simply want to include 1 or 2 memorable Pokemon experiences while also exploring Japan. Of course, you can belong to more than one category, but knowing your main priority will stop you from filling your itinerary with places that sound exciting but don't actually offer what you're looking for. First up, how many Pokemon centers should you visit? For most international visitors, the first obvious destination is a Pokemon Center. There are official stores across Japan, including several in Tokyo, as well as locations in Kyoto, Osaka, Sapporo, Kanazawa, Hiroshima, Kagawa, Fukuoka, and Okinawa. But here's the most important thing to understand. You probably don't need to visit all of them. Many standard products are sold at multiple Pokemon centers. The display, statues, and atmosphere may be different, but the main shelves do have a lot of overlap. So if you visit 5 Pokemon centers, you should not expect 5 completely different selections of merchandise. In Tokyo, I would normally recommend choosing 1 or 2 major locations based on the rest of your itinerary. Pokemon Center DX in Nihonbashi is especially convenient if you also want to visit the Pokemon Cafe, because they are in the same building. Pokemon Center Mega Tokyo in Ikebukuro is one of the largest stores, and Pikachu Suites is also located in the same Sunshine City complex. Pokemon Center Shibuya is inside Shibuya Parko, so it is easy to combine with Nintendo Tokyo and several other character and gaming stores. And Pokemon Center Skytree Town works well if you're already planning to visit Tokyo Skytree. Of course, the same principle applies outside Tokyo. Visit Pokemon Center Kyoto if it naturally fits into your Kyoto sightseeing day. Visit Pokemon Center Osaka DX if you're going to the Pokemon Cafe in Osaka or exploring Shinsaibashi. Pokemon Center Osaka in Umeda is more convenient if you're staying near Osaka Station. Pokemon Center Okinawa is worth checking out if your itinerary, of course, includes Okinawa, particularly because Okinawa's regional Pokemon is Growlithe, who is incredibly adorable. But maybe you do not travel across an entire city simply because another Pokemon Center exists there. Instead, choose stores that combine well with places that you already want to visit. But also, keep in mind if you go to one of the large Pokemon centers in Tokyo or Osaka, you may end up waiting in line for the register for anywhere from 5 minutes to almost an hour depending on the day. On a totally regular weekday, Maddie and I both reported that we ended up spending about 30 minutes waiting in line at the register. She went to Pokemon Center Umeda to get the Valentine's Day Pikachu, and I go every so often, as you can see, to Pokemon Center Kyoto, and I typically wait in line for about 20 minutes on a weekday at the most though. In the past, Pokemon stores have even required timed entry tickets just to enter the stores, mainly in Osaka and Tokyo. And while we haven't seen this happen for a while, just be prepared if the Pokemon Center is a big priority for your trip. Make sure to allot enough time, of course, for your Pokemon Center visits without any major reservations or events directly after you're planning to shop there. If a more relaxed visit to the Pokemon Center is what you're looking for, then out of all the major cities in our experience, the one in Kyoto is the calmest. It can get a little busy at times, but I do believe it is the calmest. Also remember that smaller Pokemon stores can be found in places like Tokyo Station and some airports. These can be useful for last-minute souvenirs, but they're generally smaller than a full Pokemon Center, and they have a more limited selection. However, places like the airports do have exclusive Pikachu plushies and plushie keychains with the name of the airport embroidered on their little jackets, which is adorable and a perfect way to remember your trip. So convenient backup options, not necessarily the main destination for a serious collector. What about how to find limited plushies and merchandise? One of the most popular products among international visitors is Pokemon Fit. These are small palm-sized plushies you can imagine in my hand, and the range includes many Pokemon that rarely receive large plush toys, with the concept that anybody can find their favorite Pokemon because every Pokemon is somebody's favorite. So if your favorite is Relicanth for some reason, congrats. Here he is just for you. They are small and easy to pack, relatively easy to display at home, and you can search for Pokemon from different generations. For many travelers, Pokemon Fit is a better souvenir than a huge plushie that takes up half of your suitcase, though I probably disagree with that. But Pokemon Fit is only one series. You may also find Pokemon dolls, mascot keychains, seasonal designs, especially featuring Pikachu, but also other Pokemon, game-related collections, anniversary products, cafe merchandise. There's also, of course, regional Pokemon products connected to local tourism campaigns, which we will talk about later. However, limited does not always mean that every item is permanently exclusive to one store. Some products may initially be connected to a location or event, but later appear online or in other shops. So if exclusivity is important to you, check out the official product information instead of relying only on labels made by resellers. And of course, the other major issue is stock. There's no simple tourist-friendly system that allows you to check the live inventory of every Pokemon Center in Japan. So a product may seem available online, but unavailable in the physical store that you visit. It may also be sold out online, but still appear in a particular shop. So before your trip, I recommend doing 4 things. First, search Pokemon Center online and find the exact product you want. Second, save the Japanese product name. Third, take a screenshot of the item. And fourth, show the image to a staff member when you visit the store. This is much easier than trying to describe a very specific version of Pikachu using gestures. And if you find something that's genuinely important to you, do not assume you can return and buy it on the final day of your trip. Popular products can and do sell out all the time. Restock dates often not announced, and some items may never return. Of course, you don't need to panic buy everything that you see, but I would separate your shopping list into priority items and optional items. Buy the priority item when you find it. You can wait and compare prices or designs for the optional items. Now let's talk about Pokemon cards, because this is where expectations and reality can be very different. So yes, Pokemon cards are sold in Japan. You can find them at Pokemon Centers, specialist card stores, registered Pokemon card gym locations, electronics retailers, toy shops, some bookstores, and even some convenience stores. But being in Japan does not mean that you can walk into any store and buy a sealed booster box at retail price. In fact, it's probably not a good time investment during your trip. So in recent years, especially because of the 30th anniversary in 2026, it's basically a part-time job to collect Pokemon cards. And even for residents of Japan, it takes significant time and effort to get your hands on them. There are basically Pokemon card zombies roaming the streets all across the nation. For a popular release, the product will more often than not be sold through a lottery system. Japan does love a lottery system, and it will be limited to a few packs per customer. There are sometimes even age restrictions to ensure that children can get booster packs before adult collectors and pretty much resellers swoop in and buy them all. Sometimes you will even need to show identification, or the stores would just have no stock at all. If a new set is being released during your trip, check the release date before arriving in Japan. Then check how many major retailers are planning to sell it. Some stores accept lottery applications days or weeks in advance, and the application may require a Japanese account, a local app, Japanese phone number, and often a Japanese address, and that can make it nearly impossible for short-term international visitors. Other stores sometimes offer normal sales but impose strict purchase limits. If it's not sold via lottery and there's a normal sale release, the lines either fill up within an hour of the store opening or require a very long wait to just buy one box that's unsealed. So if you're really dedicated, get in line well before the store opens and be prepared with your ID. In Maddie's experience, she found a non-lottery release at Edion in front of Kyoto Station, and they waited in line for 3 hours to get it, and it required an ID. So you should also check whether seal boxes keep their original plastic wrapping. More and more shops remove the shrink wrap when selling a box to discourage resale, especially these like Edion, Yamada Denki, and other major electronics and department stores. So if you're collecting sealed products, ask about this before paying. And of course, remember that cards sold in Japan are pretty much Japanese language cards. If you want English language cards, a normal Pokemon Center is not really the best place to search. You would need to look for specialist stores that carry imported products, and prices may be much higher than in the card's original market. Overall, if you just want to get a new booster pack that's not so popular, you will probably have luck at electronic stores, department stores, and card shops. However, if you're looking for popular booster packs, it will not be a casual pop-in to a store unless you get very lucky and discover them before the horde does. We've had customers on tours ask where to get the popular booster packs because their friend casually asked them to bring one back. And if you're not a Pokemon fan and your friend asks you to bring them a specific booster pack, you can respectfully tell them, ain't nobody got time for that. If you're looking for a specific card, buying random packs is definitely not the best use of your time or money. Japan has many specialist stores selling individual cards. In Tokyo, one of the best known options is Hareruya in Akihabara. Its main tower focuses heavily on Pokemon cards, including modern singles, older Japanese cards, promotional cards, high-value cards, and accessories. It also has a large play area. There's also a nearby annex that focuses more on buying and selling cards. So in Osaka, Hareruya to Namba is convenient for visitors exploring Namba and the Nipponbashi or Denden Town area. You will also see chains such as Card Labo, Dragon Star, and Mint in major cities. The important thing is not to buy an expensive card from the first store that you enter. Look around, go to different stores, especially ones in maybe slightly more out-of-the-way locations, and they might be selling them there for significantly less, possibly. In most of the stores in big cities, the price that they're listing is quite a bit above the regular resale price online and at smaller stores. If you're a serious collector, of course, you know how to do your research before going shopping, and you probably know the pros and cons of buying these at stores versus online. But the best thing about buying these cards at the store, instead of online for the cheaper price, is the fact that you're able to see the card and check the condition before purchase. Another word you'll often see is oripa. Oripa is short for original pack, and these are mystery packs created by the individual card store. They're not normal official Pokemon booster packs. So a store may advertise the possibility of winning a valuable card, but the result is random and the expected value is often much lower than the price that you pay. So treat Oripa as entertainment, not as a reliable way to buy valuable cards or make money. Next up, if you're searching for an older plushie, a discontinued item, or merchandise from a past event, the official Pokemon Center is obviously not going to be useful at all. This is when Japan's secondhand shops become much more interesting. So Surugaya carries plushies, figures, cards, games, and character merchandise, but the inventory is different in every branch, so one store may be excellent for Pokemon while another has very little. Mandarake is especially useful for older and more collectible merchandise. In Tokyo, Nakano Broadway and Akihabara are major locations, and there's also branches in cities such as Osaka, Nagoya, Sapporo, and Fukuoka. Book Off and Book Off Super Bazaar can also have games, cards, toys, and plushies. Large suburban branches of Book Off can sometimes be surprisingly good because they have more space and they receive more types of items. I generally recommend, if you're really hardcore about secondhand shopping, leaving main city areas and going a little bit more into suburban areas. It might take a little more struggle to get there, usually just that includes maybe taking a bit of a train or just a taxi, Typically, these aren't even that far. It's just out of where the average tourist thinks to go, and that is where I always choose to go and always have a much more pleasant experience and have a lot more variety to spend my money on. And then Lashingbang is another option, especially for smaller character merchandise such as badges, acrylic stands, keychains. By the way, here are some useful Japanese for you. For plushies, the original paper tag can significantly affect the price. Check for stains, smells, missing accessories, and damage, and be careful with items labeled junk. In Japan, junk normally means that the store does not guarantee the condition or functionality. It does not necessarily mean that the item is completely unusable, but you are accepting the risk. Secondhand shopping is less predictable than visiting a Pokemon Center, but that's also part of what makes it quite fun. Let's talk about Pokemon experiences that need advanced planning. Pokemon travel in Japan is no longer only about shopping. Some of the most memorable experiences now require reservations, timed entry, or an entire half day in your itinerary. The biggest new example being PokéPark KANTO. PokéPark KANTO is a permanent Pokemon attraction inside Yomiuri Land in Inagi, Tokyo. It includes Pokemon Forest, Sedge Town, and an entrance area. This is not located in central Tokyo, so do not treat it like a quick shop you can visit between Shibuya and Tokyo Station. You need to include the transportation time, entry procedures, and the amount of time you want to spend inside in your itinerary. So for most travelers, I would reserve at least half a day. You also need to understand the ticket options. Depending on the pass, access may include Pokemon Forest, the town area, or additional benefits. Overseas residents should use the official English language ticket information rather than buying from an unofficial reseller, which honestly, I think that rule should apply to almost anything that you do here. The second major reservation is the Pokemon Cafe. There are Pokemon cafes in Tokyo and Osaka. The Tokyo Cafe is in the same building as Pokemon Center Tokyo DX, and the Osaka Cafe is connected to Pokemon Center Osaka DX. You should treat both as reservation-based attractions, not as normal restaurants where you just casually arrive and wait for a table. Reservation availability can disappear quickly, especially during weekends, holidays, and busy travel seasons. Menu items also change, so check the current menu shortly before your visit. Some merchandise is connected specifically to the cafe and may not be sold in normal Pokemon Center shops. So if you can't get a Pokemon Cafe reservation in Tokyo, Pikachu Sweets in Ikebukuro is a much easier alternative. It's more casual, more focused on takeaway food and drinks, and it's in the same Sunshine City complex as the Pokemon Center Mega Tokyo. Next up is Universal Studios Japan. Pokemon content at USJ is not always the same, and it's also not always particularly prominent. Depending on your travel dates, there may be Pokemon characters in the parade, a Halloween show, and greetings or themed food or exclusive merchandise. But you should never assume that something you saw in an older YouTube video will still be available during your visit. You can check the official event information online for your exact date, and the daily show schedule is normally released much closer to the visit, so check again about a week before going. You may see exclusive hats, plush keychains, shoulder mascots, and other USJ merchandise, but stock and purchase limits, of course, can change. USJ and the Pokemon Company have also announced plans to develop more immersive Pokemon experiences, so future visitors should always check whether something new has opened. Families can also make their accommodation part of the experience. Selected Mimaru apartment hotels in Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka actually have Pokemon rooms. They're designed for families in groups, often with kitchens, Pokemon decorations, themed tableware, and a large Snorlax. These rooms are normally more expensive than standard rooms, and they book out early, but for a child or a very dedicated adult fan, staying there may be more memorable than visiting another merchandise shop. Next, some of my favorite Pokemon locations are not stores or ticketed attractions. They are Poké Lids, or Pokemon manhole covers. These official manhole covers combine particular Pokemon with different regions of Japan. You can find them in parks, near stations, beside tourist attractions, and in smaller cities that many international visitors would never otherwise think about visiting. The official Pokemon Local Acts website provides regional, list, and map links. Of course, for a normal Japan itinerary, you do not need to collect dozens of them. Instead, find 2 to 5 that fit naturally into places that you're already visiting. In Tokyo, there are Poké Lids in areas such as Ueno and Machida, as well as around PokéPark KANTO. Kyoto Prefecture also has several, including locations that can be combined with a trip to Uji. Yokohama's Poké Lids can be added to a day around Minato Mirai. And Okinawa has Growlithe designs connected to its regional Pokemon campaign. Before going, save the exact location on Google Maps. A manhole cover may technically be in the same city as your hotel, but still require a long train or bus ride. And obviously, if you're taking pictures of it, please don't step into the road or block other people. But Poké Lids are connected to a larger regional tourism project, this Pokemon Local Acts, where different prefectures have different representative Pokemon. For example, Slowpoke is connected to Kagawa. It might humor you to know that the Japanese name Yadon sounds like udon, which is what Kagawa is famous for. Sandshrew is connected to Tottori. Lapras represents Miyagi. Geodude represents Iwate. Chansey represents Fukushima. Dragonite is connected to Fukui. And Growlithe, of course, represents Okinawa. These regional Pokemon can appear on local souvenirs, snacks, stationery, trains, buses, signs, tourism offices, and temporary events. And importantly, these products are not always sold at Pokémon Centers. So when traveling outside Japan's largest cities, search the name of the prefecture together with Pokemon Local Acts before you go. I think it's a fantastic way to sort of incentivize travel, especially in Japanese people as well, to places that are a little bit more out of the way. And it's a great way to make a normal sightseeing day more interesting for children. Instead of telling them that you are simply walking through another park, another shopping street, you can give them a small Pokemon mission. What about Pokemon trains, transportation, and Pokemon Go? Depending on your route and travel dates, you may also find Pokemon-themed transportation. One of the best known examples is the Pokemon with You train operated by JR East in the Tohoku region. It doesn't operate like a normal daily commuter train. It runs on selected dates, all seats are reserved, and seat reservations generally become available 1 month before travel. So I would only add it if you're already planning to visit the region and the operating date fits your itinerary. At different times, Japan may also have Pokemon-wrapped trains, buses, aircraft, airport displays, station stamps, and stamp rallies, and these change very frequently, so search your destination and travel dates instead of relying on an old list. Pokemon Go players should also check the official event calendar. There may be community days, city safari events, Go Fest events, special raids, or other location-based activities during your visit. Poké Lids may also be connected to Poké Stops, and major parks and station areas often have mini gyms and Poké Stops. But please don't just stop suddenly in busy stations or block sidewalks while looking at your phone, which I do witness frequently enough still in the year of our Lord 2026. Japan's large train stations can already be confusing without a group of distracted Pokemon trainers standing in the middle of the exit. Now, I want to know your answer. What is your favorite Pokemon? And what would be the #1 Pokemon experience you would want to have in Japan? Let me know in the comments. And if you're planning a trip to Japan, make sure you subscribe for more practical travel advice that helps you enjoy Japan without wasting your time or making common planning mistakes. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed seeing a little bit of my collection that I have here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!